to Tyra Mini Reads, Reviews, Discusses, Monologues about anything and everything, and that's on period. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I want to discuss the books I finished reading in March of 2025. So this is a March wrap up. In March, I was very productive. My reading was productive because I finished 5 books, that's incredible. Usually I average about 2 to 3 books. With competing priorities, work, and other stuff. So I was very happy that I was able to at least finish 5. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. The first book that I finished in March 2025 was The Parlor Wife by Felicia Agbaje. So this is a book that's set in Lagos in, I think, pre-colonial times or during World War II. And it followed a girl who was forced to give up her dreams in order to, I guess, put her family first. So it wasn't, how do I say it? It wasn't a bad read. I enjoyed reading the book. It just wasn't my cup of tea or wasn't my favorite read. There were some things that maybe took me out of the story. So enjoyable level, I would say maybe like a 3 out of 5, but the prose and the history behind it, I would say 4 out of 5. So overall, I think I'll rate that read a 3.5. I will have a very detailed review on my thoughts about the book. It should come out in the next week or so. And if you care to hear my thoughts, yeah, go ahead and click that. But then go ahead and watch it whenever I put it up. And it's going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, maybe might want to not watch that video. So, but yeah, it was a good book. Wasn't so bad. But like I said, I am typically like a fantasy girl. So when I do read out of my comfort zone, it's hard for me. I'll just put it that way. So the next book that I read, the next book that I finished in March of 2025 was Relic of the Gods by Philip Control. This is continuing the Echo Saga's world, the Echo of Fate saga, which is made up of 9 books plus 6 other books set in different timelines. This is a very fantastic series by Philip Control. I read 2 books in February, and I finished the last book in this first quarter of the trilogy in March. And Relic of the God, we just continued from where we stopped in the second book, and we're following our main protagonist, which is Asher, Princess Reina, and Valanis, the Dark Elf. Again, for this book, this was a top read for me. I think I rated it 5 stars the whole trilogy. I'm definitely going to continue this trilogy. Well, it's not a trilogy, it's a saga, because there's 9 books in at least the first timeline. So I just read 3, so I still have a lot more to read. But I actually did a very detailed review on this book, or I will be doing a detailed review on this book, and I will have that out in the next couple of weeks as well. But I rated across the board for all 3 books that I read. They were all 5 stars for me. Philip Control did something with this book because he took common themes like dragons and elf and the regular genetic makeup of a fantasy story, and he kind of brought a new flavor into it. The prose is beautiful, and I think it's easy for you to just get into the story. The story just starts and it just keeps going, and I don't ever think the momentum ever slowed down. In fact, I had points where I was like, okay, can we not just be doing something or going somewhere? Like, let's just be like chill, because it just felt like the characters were go, 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 go. At the end of this book, The Relic of the Gods, something happened that for the first time, I agreed with that approach that the author took, and I felt like, this was doing the story justice. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I rated it a 5 star. So, if you like elves, or if you like books that are like Game of Thrones, The Witcher, The Lord of the Rings, yeah, you might want to try out the Echo of Fate Saga by Philip Quintrell. I have the book here or somewhere on the screen because I don't have the physical copies. I have them on my Kindle and I just kind of read it, real fast that way. So, the next book that I finished in March 2025 was, and I have this copy, so I'm just going to bring that up, Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So this book was a very highly anticipated book because the author hasn't put out any like major novel in about 10 years. I mean, she has publications and stuff, but Dream Count was it follows three women, or actually four women, during the pandemic that happened, kind of set against that. And we follow a girl or a woman and her cousin and her best friend and her housekeeper. And this is the book kind of dives into their lives at a certain point. It's not like we don't get it from, inception, right? But this was not like I said, this is not my type of genre, so I didn't enjoy the book per se. It wasn't it wasn't my cup of tea, and I feel like I've said that before. I think the reason why I didn't really like this book is because the characters were so unlikable. I just didn't like them. I didn't like the actions they did. I didn't like anything they did. So I think that kind of turned me off from the book. I would definitely read something that she writes, Chimamanda. I think her prose is beautiful, and she is a good and prolific writer. I just don't like the characters that she wrote about in this book. I only liked one, and that was Caddy. Caddy's story was more fleshed out, and it was just the one I connected the most. So I would rate. I would rate this a 3.5, just because I just did not like the characters, and I know a lot of people probably liked it, but maybe because this is not my genre. And then the characters were so unlikable. Chia, the first one, I just couldn't stand her. Whenever her POV came on, I was just like, nope. So I think I will also have a detailed review on Dream Count in the coming weeks, just to kind of go through my thoughts about the book and what worked for me and what didn't work for me. So the next two books that I finished were by the same author, and that would be Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. And I went on and just grabbed Not in Love because I had this already. This was on my TBR. And I was like, yeah, I was coming off of this one. I'll just go ahead and grab this one. So I will rate them, I say side by side. So, oops, sorry. Okay, so Deep End was, I think, my favorite of the two of them. I like Deep End because I felt like Deep End, the characters were more fleshed out, and it was just a more relatable read, right? Because she wrote about Scarlett, this junior in Stanford, and she's a diver, and she went through something called the yips. I think people who are into sports, they understand what that is. And so she had to go to counseling to try to remove the mental block that was affecting her. And then also, Scarlett is this like, I have a plan and I'm going to do everything I need to do. I need to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I will achieve my plan. But she quickly realizes that that's not what life is about. And I really like the exploration of how she got to that point. Like, hey, I wake up today, I'm good. That's okay with me. Versus, how intense she was trying to study for medical school and, be a diver and get all straight A's and excel in every single thing. So she then, comes to this realization that she doesn't have to excel in everything. And then the other part of the book is the main character, Lucas, which Lucas was kind of interesting to me. I felt like he didn't have a lot of, okay, so let me put it this way. I think the story was more from Scarlett's side versus Luke. So we didn't really get a lot of Luke's POV, or let's say we didn't get his thoughts, right? So he came off as unknowable, unreadable, and more. I mean, he did, there were points where he would express himself, but I still feel like I would have wanted more to kind of see his thought process um, in the books. But I liked their romance. Another thing was she indicated that this book was going to be like an erotica novel, but it really wasn't. It was like soft, right? Because there were a lot of things that she kind of insinuated, but it was never explored. So I don't believe that this would rate as an erotica novel. It's just more like a soft romance with like some slightly deviant stuff going on, but it wasn't too bad. So I also liked the ending. I liked the fact that Scarlett actually went out of her way to make a grand gesture to kind of show Lucas that she was all in. So, and I finished this really quickly. So this was a very good book. This was a good read for me, right? I just felt like the sexual elements in this books were, I don't know, they weren't working for me. But if you take out that part and just focus on the story, it was a very enjoyable read, and I rated it, I think, about 4.5. Four stars, not 4.5. 4 stars. Okay, so Not in Love. Okay, so this is my least favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I know, so sad. But a couple of things didn't work out for me in the story. So we follow Rue and Eli, and Rue came off with a personality of cardboard paper. She literally had no personality the whole book. She was, I don't know, I feel like the way Rue was written was just not believable, because I'm like, how can you be so restricted, so emotionless? I mean, okay, so let me give you the synopsis of the book, right? So it says, Rue Siebert might not have it all, but she has enough. A few friends she can always count on, the financial stability she yearned for as a kid, and a successful engineer as a biotech engineer at Klein, one of the most promising startups in the field of food science. Her world is stable, pleasant, and hard fought until a hostile takeover and its offensively attractive frontman threaten to bring it all crumbling down. Eli Kilgore and his business partners want Klein, period. Eli has his own reasons for pushing this deal through, and he's a man who gets what he wants, with one burning exception, Rue, the woman he can't stop thinking about, the woman who's off limits to him. So they kind of, okay, the way the book starts, it starts at like maybe 25%, because we're thrown into the story and it's like a lot of things that should have already been said wasn't really explicitly explained. And then we just meet Eli and Rue and they already like attracted to each other. It didn't make any sense to me. And then throughout the book, you see them like trying to fight that attraction. And I think that was where it lost it from me, because what was written as attraction or lost then kind of changed into love. And then they were like madly in love with each other. I don't know. The book was lost on those elements. It just was weird. I felt like we didn't know a lot about the characters to care enough for them, from the point where the book started. And then the actual story, the sciencey part, it was okay. I mean, I felt like it was okay. It was believable. I don't know. I think I spoke about Ali in my last video, where she typically writes about women in STEM or, science stuff, NASA, that kind of thing. So I felt like this was like on par. But again, Rue is a food engineer, and throughout the book, we only see her working on one project, which was her project, like her patent or her invention, and not about the other everyday like stuff that would happen as a food engineer. Like, I would have wanted to know like way more into the details of what a food engineer does. I didn't get that from this book. So there were a couple of things that didn't really work out. The only thing that I liked was, and this is a common theme across Ali's book is her male characters or the main leads are always written like men that don't exist. Like they're like the most attentive, the most loving, the most caring. I'm like, where is she finding all of these guys? Because I don't know. But yeah, so that's one thing I like. And the other thing that I really like is Ali's books usually have some type of found family where you see the main characters struggling because they didn't have like a good background growing up, or they had issues with their parents. And when you read the books, you kind of see how they have built, you know, family ties with other people, and they are just like the best of friends. Another thing that Ali does really well is tying her characters in to her story. So in this book, we do see what's her name from the very first books. I forgot her name, but from the very first book, The Love Hypothesis, I think we kind of see. Oh, her name is like on the top, like Iris. I'm not sure. I'll check. But yeah, we see the very Adam, and I know the guy's name is Adam. I forgot the other girl's name, but we do see those two couples in this book, which is really great, or that couple, sorry, in this book, which is really nice to see. And another thing is she kind of hinted at the next couple. So Ali has a book coming out in I think August this summer, Problematic Summer Attraction or something like that, where it's hinted in this book it's gonna be about Eli's younger sister and Eli's best friend, Hark. So it's gonna follow Maya and Hark's story. And to be quite honest, I'm more interested in that story than this story because, like I said, I feel like this story, we didn't really get to know a lot about the couple. I just felt like we didn't have a lot of background, and her job was just like, oh, I'm a food science, and she only did one project in the whole book, and that was it. So I felt like we didn't really go in depth into the characters for me to care enough about them, versus in Deep End, where we were with Scarlett the whole time. Like you could see her struggling, and she went for competitions, she went to trainings, like you just felt invested. She went to class, she did, you know, bio labs, you know, so there was a lot that was going on in her life that made me feel like I could relate to her, right? So whereas in Not in Love, it just felt like a 3 months kind of, this is what happened in 3 months. I don't know if that makes sense. So Not in Love was probably like a 3 over 5 for me. It wasn't the best read, but because of that, I'm actually looking forward to Maya and Hark's story, which is coming out in summer this year. So I'll definitely pick that book up when it comes back. But yeah, those are like those were the books I read in March of 2025. Like I said, I'm gonna have a more detailed review coming out pretty soon for Dream Count, for The Parlor Wife, and for the Echo of Sarga series, because I rated that book as all three of them because, you know, it's just better that way. So yeah, whenever I have those videos up, definitely please stay subscribed, like, share, comment, you know, anything to get the word out. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.